Okay, this is the ET experience I had when I moved to Vera Street. So I lived in Silver here in Windsor, Ontario. I moved to Vera, and I'm trying to remember what exactly happened. I'm working at the coffee shop still, and one night I'm working at the coffee shop, and all of a sudden I get this feeling inside and a vision in my head. The feeling grew. As the feeling grew, the more of the vision I was having in my head. And say it was like at 8 o'clock, and then we closed at 11. And I'm working. The feeling is to go down to the river, a couple blocks down to the river, sit by a tree, and look in the sky over Detroit. And I'm like, oh, really? So I brushed it off. Soon the feeling got worse and worse, and by 10 o'clock, 10:30, I was totally overwhelmed with this feeling telling me to go down to the river and look over Detroit. To sit there. And I'm like, why, right? Why? What the hell? What the hell? And I'm arguing with myself, literally, for like the rest of the night. Finally, I'm like, all right, I'll go down to the river. And so I walk out the door, I close up the coffee shop, and I'm heading down to the river. And I meet a friend on the street, and he goes, want to go for a beer? I'm like, all right, we'll go for a beer. So we went to a little pub on the corner there, and so I'm sitting there having my beer, and all of a sudden I feel guilty, like I promised to go to the river, and all of a sudden I'm feeling this guilt, like it's overwhelming guilt coming from inside, and I'm like, what the hell? What am I feeling guilty about? Because I didn't go to the river? I didn't want to go to the river in the first place, right? What the hell is there to do? Sit down at the river and look in the sky. I had no reason why I wanted to go down. Nothing. So why go? And why am I feeling guilty? Totally confused. That's all I got. And I'm like, shut up, forget about it. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. This guilt feeling I'm having, it's not even a feeling, it's overwhelming me. Like, literally guilt. As finally, by the time I get done with beer, the feeling is gone and I go home to bed. That was it. Next day, I go to work. Around 7, 8 o'clock, the feeling comes back. Go down to the river, go down to the river, go down to the river. And it's total, I'm like, oh, fuck, this again? And it's totally overwhelming me. It's like I'm possessed. But it's coming from my own soul. It's coming from my own heart. Go down to the river, go down to the river. And I'm like, all right, I'll go down to the river. Like by 11 o'clock, I just gave up. I said, I'll go down to the river. Jesus Christ. I guess it's important I go to the river. So I figured, all right, I'm going to put on my tunes, sit down by the tree, listen to my tunes, and look in the sky over Detroit. That's what it was telling me to do. And I figured it's got to be UFOs, because that's what I was totally into, right? But I'm not sure. I don't know what the hell. I'm thinking maybe there's a girl down there I'm going to meet, you know? I don't know. But it said look in the sky, you know? But it was a feeling, so you can't really, there's no substance to it. It's not like a direct message verbally, right? It's just a feeling. It's like the vision in my head was me sitting at the tree looking over top of Detroit. And that was it, constantly, for hours, until it was overwhelming. Finally I said, I'm going to the fucking river. I'm yelling at myself. So I close up, and this time I ain't going drinking. I'm just going to go to the river and listen to my tunes and see what happens, I guess. So I go down to the river. I find a tree. It's a little tree in Dieppe Park, and I sit by it in the grass. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at this Detroit, over top of Detroit. looking in the sky, and I go, well, I don't know what I'm looking for. So there's two stars, two bright stars over Detroit. And I think this was in like July, August, somewhere in there. There's two bright stars over top of Detroit, proper, like Renaissance Center, GM building, whatever they call it now. There's two stars there, and there's a couple of aimless ones, and I figure, oh, I'll look for satellites. That's kind of fun, right? So I'm looking at all the main stars, so I can, anything out there moving around, I'll know. I'm just focusing on the main stars. I'll see what's moving by looking at the main stars. And you can't really see a lot anyway, but you can see a few. So I noticed there's two bright stars over Detroit. And I'm looking straight up overhead. I look straight up overhead at the stars, and then I look back over Detroit. And now there's three stars. And they're not moving. Okay. But the center star, there's the center star. But I didn't really clue in. But I'm like, hey, something's different, right? So I figured out it's a jet or something, right? And all of a sudden it starts twinkling, twinkling, like gyrating, twinkling. And it gets brighter. And I'm watching, I'm going, hey, that's different. I'm thinking that's different. And it's twinkling, it's twinkling, it's twinkling, it's twinkling, it's twinkling, and it's getting brighter and brighter. And it's like a strobe light. But constant light, but it's strobing very fast. And it's getting brighter and brighter and brighter, and finally it gets, I don't know how to describe it, it gets 10 times this brighter than the stars beside it, which was originally, they looked like 3 stars, but now it's like from the size of a needle pinprick size to like a dime size. And it's that big, and it's going, it's flashing, and all of a sudden it goes, bam! It's like it fucking hit me with a laser or something. The light came right at me. It wham, right on me, and this is way out in space over Detroit, and it went. It got really huge and went right in my. Like literally, it blinded me. But I don't know if anybody else saw it. But it was only for a second. Then, I'm like, holy fuck. Then it stopped gyrating and went right down to a dot. A star again. Then it turned red, and then it went away. It just disappeared into blackness. It went dimmer and dimmer. It went red, started moving, and got dimmer and dimmer and left. But as I'm looking at it, as soon as it went dim and hit my eyeballs or whatever it did, I figured it shot a laser at me. That was like a laser, right? As soon as it did that and it started going dim, and just as it was a pinpoint of light again, this emotion of love and compassion and understanding, and they were saying goodbye. Okay, not forever, but for a while. And this is a gift. Goodbye. And it was love and compassion, and it came. I could see it spiritually. I could see it was like traveling down a tube. This bomb of energy. And it hit me right in the chest. And I'm like, ugh. It just overwhelmed me. This love and compassion just went right into me from this, what I just saw, this pinpoint of light. This is the spiritual side of it. Then it was overwhelming me. It was so overwhelming, and it felt, the memory I have of that type of feeling was when you go to heaven, and as you get closer and closer to the light and the voices that are calling you, you start feeling love and compassion. It's overwhelming, and that is what I felt coming from this point of light. And immediately tears just started pouring out of my eyes. Then it turned red and slowly went away. And I'm like just sitting there totally dumbfounded, and I like my heart is just whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And I'm like, take me with you. Oh man, I was totally messed up. I got up, walked home to Vera Street, just crying, walked home crying, and I got my message. Now, how does that work? Them's the ETs, spiritual. So what happened was, now that I know, the ETs talked to my spirit, my innocence, my inner light, set this up ahead of time. The ETs hooked up to me the last 2 days while I was working, sending me a message. My spirit amplifying it, telling me with the ETs to go down to the river and look up. It would have been nice if they gave me more specific information, but I guess they did in a way, but it's hard to pay attention when you're serving 50 fucking customers an hour or more. And all the craziness going on. Anyway, I got it. I did it and I went and I got a cool thing. Cool experience. And no fear, no nothing, just love. And lots of love and compassion. It was beautiful. It was totally overwhelming. Blew me away. Blew me away. And they didn't come back for about 4 or 5 months. They were gone. So that was their gift before they went and did a shift change. So the way I see it is the ETs go and do a shift change, or they do so much time on the ship doing whatever they do. They have to go back to their base and have 2 weeks off, get back to normal. Sort of like we do, you know. Get 2 weeks off for vacation. That's what they were doing. But it's a little different, I think. But more or less, that's what they're saying. We're out of here for a while. Good luck. Because I just got done the Shover, right? Then I moved to Vera, and this happened. So that's another experience I had. There's a lot more to come. I had at Vera. I mean, huge ones. So I don't know if I'm going to make it today, because I really like to do it without my roommate here where I can talk good. So I think I'll wait till Monday or Sunday when he's gone. Alright, but I just thought I'd make this video because I remembered it and I didn't want to forget it. Okay. Later, guys.